You to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to talk, is the orientation night for MO program. And I'm presenting for the team. We have our chair, Eugene Guan, and she was the chair for last year too. She has done a great job last year. We'll see their results in one of the slides. We also have our advisor there, Li Ping. So they both have done a lot of work over the summertime, trying to change the program and different organizations to try to make a better platform for everybody to participate. Hopefully a better year for us too. I always like to give an outline. I'll first talk about the MO program and what is the competition, what is about the test format, the time frame, and what's the team, and all those information. And to get you started, some people have already attended last year, but a lot of parents here, apparently they're new. And then we'll talk about registration. Registration will open up this Friday, which is the starting of a new year. And then we'll talk about significant changes that we have been planning for the next school calendar year, for 18 to 19. And at the end, we would love to hear inputs from every one of you. And some of the parents who are not here, we can send out email. You can shoot us emails, or you can through WeChat, all those different platforms, to see the changes that we are making, whether you think it's helpful or we can make it better. Right? So what is Math Olympiad program? So this program is run by Somerset PTSA, and chairs and coaches are all parent volunteers. And currently it's open for 3rd grade, the gifted program, and 4th and 5th graders. And we want to have kids who love math and wants to participate in a competition. Even you just love math and you don't feel much like going into a competition, that's fine too. And we hope that as I will show in the examples, hopefully there are useful techniques and thinking skills that all students can get out of this program. Seems like the mission comes in random orders. So first we want to inspire, of course, the interest of all students and help them to start to appreciate the beauty of mathematics. Really, math is very useful. It's not like as a subject we have to learn it. We have to get a good score. It's not about that. Math is very beautiful. You can translate everything into equation, precise equation, which is a very, very, very beautiful thing. We want to help the student to kind of appreciate math, not just because it's an entire subject in the school, and to enhance classroom performance. So this is basically why I volunteered for this year, because my daughter just entered 3rd grade. And I think, first 2 years we're just having fun. We don't do much after school. But now it's kind of the time for her to learn more math. And I volunteered, so I put in more time in this program so that she will be with me to learn a little bit more math. I think a lot of parents here may be just like me, right? I think the techniques you will see will help them in classroom, how they think a problem and how they solve it. And we also want to prepare students who are very advanced for competition, for sure. So what is MO? So it's a statewide math competition established in 1995 by Washington State Mathematics Council. And the test range in terms of academic level is 5th to 8th grade math. So we are now focusing on the 5th grade level. For teams who participated last year, it's possible to register them for the 6th grade if you apply. MO is also a competition based on team performance. It's a team of 4. We'll talk about the team in a little bit. So when, where, and awards. When, where, what we're going to show here is based on last year. So last year is the end of April, and the competition is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Place, last year, maybe next year will be different, at Seattle University. And 2 kinds of awards. One is the excellent ribbon and medal. So last year we got a lot, 9 medals and 14 excellent ribbons for Somerset. And our chair has done a great job. I think we all should give her a round of applause.
Thank you, thank you.
So contest format, if you haven't gotten to that far, so I'm sorry. So it's two parts. One is 1 hour long problem, and then you have 5 20-minute short answer tests. For each of these categories, we will have targeted topics in our coaching sessions, as you will see in a little bit. Team components, a team of 4, and usually you like students to be at similar mathematics level so that they can learn from each other and compete with each other, kind of help the team chemistry. But also, the students' preference is also very important. If they have a best buddy in the team, and you can do coaching session at the same time, afterwards do play dates, that will kind of help them build kind of the interest in doing this. So it's up to the parents and the students. So we have one main coach per team who will coordinate team study activities. It involves the coaching session, usually 1 or 2 hours every week, and there will be practice problems, hopefully every single day. And on that, we definitely need parents' help. We'll talk about that. And we also need 1 volunteer per team during competition. As you will see in the end, we will need many more volunteers than just this. We will see, at the end. So milestones. I think to be on the same page that we talked about. So October 6th is where our training session starts. And before that, we'll release a lot of the materials online. So everybody, the coaches, the parents can download the materials, and coaches can decide their progress. I mean, you want to go a lot faster than average, or you want to go slower, and different topics depending on the 4 students, right? Sometimes one topic you only need 1 week, sometimes you may need 2 weeks. It depends on the coach's evaluation with their team. And January 2019, we will finalize and register teams with WSMC. In February and March, we will provide details of the competition to teams as they become available. We also do mock tests here on site. Time has not been decided yet. April 2019 would be the time to determine and submit names for event volunteers. But we do have volunteer sign-up sheets here. I'll pass it out at the end of the presentation. We will also go over final logistics of the competition. Okay, here is the start for the new year, registration. Registration is going to happen on the 18th of September, which is in 2 days. And it will last for 7 days a week. And if you can find, I'll talk about teaming in just a little bit, so don't get ahead of myself. The link will be released through e-news, but do look at PTSA e-news. They send out every week. We have new policy this year, so we want all team members to be PTSA members first to be able to register for MO, because we are a program that's running by the PTSA, and we get a lot of support from them. And with parents, we need to enroll your kids into the program 1 at a time, okay, instead of by team. If you have 5 kids, you're going to register them 1 by 1. So if you already have a team, you can submit, when you register, you should submit the team's name with your registration, including names of your coach. We also want to find teammates at similar level. This year, this is something new. We want to provide an assessment test, which is not required, okay? So for 2 types of students. One, if you really, you don't know many students and you want to find students at the same level, you can come to the assessment test. Then we'll look at scores with similar ranges, so you can choose from. Or for students who just want to find out where they are, how well for example, like if I take the assessment test, I know the level that I'm on or the areas that I need to improve on. So for those students, you feel free to take the assessment test, but it's not required. Registration fee, this year is $50. That includes the registration fee, the training materials, and professional coach fee. We can also have this optional $10 t-shirt if you are interested. I think it will be pretty cool for all team of 4 and the coach to wear the same t-shirt when at the competition, but it's up to you. Okay, here are the kind of the milestones that we anticipate for the next year. We'll have the assessment test, like I said, after registration for everybody to find a team, again, or to find where you are academically. We also want to release of training materials to everyone, every 1 or 2 weeks, including PowerPoint, including video, and practice problems. This is the major significant change that we're doing in the program. So past years, we have been holding on-site sessions, right? Students all come in, we find some classrooms, and multiple teams are in the same room and doing coaching. And a lot of people have found that it's very challenging to keep order, because you have, say you have 20 kids in one room, and you have 5 coaches that are speaking at the same time. So it's very challenging to be efficiently coaching the students. So this year, we want to move majority of the training to online. So all teams can stay wherever you are in one of the students' house, which is quiet and nice. And we also put all the materials online. I'll show example of the coaching videos, the instructional videos, how it's going to look like. For example, I'm just going to make this up, for say fractions, we can divide that big topic into small different topics, say 4 or 5 subjects, right? Then each one will have an instructional video. And in that video, we're going to present a few examples to teach students what kind of technique they should use to solve that type of problems. And then there will be corresponding materials, practice problems, to go with that video, okay? So you can practice at home. So once you finish the big subtopic, and there will be challenging advanced practice problems if this is really just too easy for the students. Well, we have 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. The challenge, the range is going to be really wide. So we're going to have basic practice problems and more difficult and then very challenging problems together with the video. So I think in this way, hopefully we're providing a lot more flexibility and initiative for the students and the coaches, right, to make progress on their own. And we also want to provide the bi-monthly assessment at school, tentatively on Friday night. We also want to invite professional coaches to teach long problems in January next year. And 2 mock tests, I talked about that already. How to prepare. So this year, the team coaches is going to determine the study or practice contents for her own team or for her or his team's progress. And we have a big set time frame. So Li Ping has spent a lot of time in the summertime going through 2 or 3 sets of curriculums. Okay, the important subjects that we need to cover to get students ready for this competition. And the high-frequency problems, we have a whole list. So after this orientation, once everybody sign up, we're going to have a meeting for the coaches. So the coaches will get that list of important targeted topics in mathematics. And then you can go back and to figure out what kind of materials you want to put in addition to what we are providing. So we do have a full curriculum set up for this year, but we do need volunteers to fill them up. For example, one little subject, we want to have representative examples, right, to show the technique, to show students how to think about a problem. We also need practice problems at different difficulty levels. So we do need volunteers for that. I think that's very important that the students get challenged in some way. So we want to have consistency training at home, 15 to 20 minutes every day, hopefully. So as a parent, I fully understand, like, everybody has just so much on their plate. Piano, swimming, all those things, right? Here, there is one more. So we don't want to make this like the last straw on the camel. And 15, 20 minutes, I mean, you're making dinner, you throw him, your kids, two problems or three problems maximum every day. But the way to, one problem is fine, but the way to do it is really to ask your child to do it. And then you look at it and whether the technique, the method is right, not just about the answer. Or even worse, like the kids will do it and you ask him, have you done it? He said, yes, I did it. And then that's the end of it. That would be a waste of time because maybe the student didn't do it right. Maybe the student didn't really practice the skills, right? The parents really have to look at it. If you really don't have time, just do one problem at a day. So consistency is an important thing, it's an amazing thing. After 2 months, after a year, your child will be totally different if you do it the right way. We want to put in 10 minutes, we want to put in 10 good minutes, not just in passing, right? You do it and you ask your kids to do it and then that's the end of it. That would be really, to me, is a waste of time. We want to use our time wisely, 15 to 20 minutes. And parents have to help. I mean, this is the deciding part of this program. We are helping, coaches are helping, and the parents are helping, but who's going to do the work? Our kids has to do the work and to make progress. So you can explore the website. Seems like the website is down, so don't frustrate yourself by playing it right now. Maybe wait a few days or a week. And be creative to keep kids interested, right? Because this is really extra work for the kids. Like I said, if they have their best buddies in the same team, that will make it a lot easier. Or do play dates right after or awards. I mean, you guys are parents. I think you guys know enough tricks that you can do. So sources for study materials. These are standard stuff. There are books that you can get on Art of Problem Solving, Volume 1, Creative Problem Solving. It's good for the parents to read it too, so that when your kids are working at a problem, then you know what the general direction is going to go. So more homework for the parents, sorry. So significant new changes. I've talked a little bit about this already. So we'll have new training materials based on real tests. So Li Ping has done a lot of work in the summertime. We have a list, so the coaches will see them probably in a few days. And we also want to do online instructional videos. I'll show 2 examples today. It's very simple. So it's just me talking, solving 2 examples, and one of the mom is helping me using a cell phone to do a video. But the point is, it doesn't have to be too fancy. The goal is to teach the technique. If we can see the problem, if we can hear me talk and see the diagram, and understand how to solve a problem, that achieve our goal. It does not have to be really fancy. And we also, like I said, will combine more online and on-site training, very little on-site training for this year. So we'll give students freedom. For example, the team cannot meet every Thursday or every Friday. But the team of 4, you guys can decide, do Monday morning or, Monday morning doesn't work, Sunday morning, something like that, right? It has a lot of freedom and flexibility. And also the environment is going to be better than 5 teams in the same classroom. The coaches then will get to know their students better. You can go faster or you can go slower, just depend on how the flow goes. So here's an example. Like I said, it's not super fancy.
Here is an example. Laura is 18 years older than Chris. How old will Chris be when Laura is 3 times as old as Chris? Here we want to introduce a graphical way to solve this word problem. It will take some practice for students to grasp how to use this technique to solve word problems, but in the end, it will help them a lot. So first, we want to represent Chris's age in this one little unit. And if Chris's age is in 1 unit, Laura is 3 times as old as Chris, then Laura should be represented in 3 little units. There is another important piece of information in this problem. Laura is 18 years older than Chris. If you look at the diagram, Laura is older than Chris by this much. And this much is 18 years. So you can see that 18 corresponds to 2 units. Then 1 unit equals to 18 divided by 2, which is 9 years. Chris is 1 unit. Chris's age is represented by 1 unit. Therefore, Chris is 9 years old.
Okay, here's the end of the example. So these kind of skills or thinking skills is going to be really helpful for the students for their classroom performance, I believe, right? To how to solve a challenging work. This problem may not be as challenging as we think once you know how to solve it, but the students may need some training, and it's going to be beneficial to them, right? So this is one type of problem.
Here is another example. Bob and Tom are at location A and B respectively. They will move in the same direction. Bob moves at a speed of 96 miles per hour, while Tom moves at a speed of 86 miles per hour. Bob started 1 hour earlier than Tom. 5 hours after Bob started, they met. What is the distance between A and B? In this example, we'll continue using the graphical technique to solve it. We start with location A and location B. Bob is at location A, Tom is at location B. Bob started 1 hour earlier than Tom. Here is 1 hour. At this point, Tom starts moving too. So Bob continues on, and Tom starts to move. At this point, they met. In total, Bob has traveled 5 hours. Tom started an hour later than Bob, so Tom traveled 4 hours. The question asks us to find what's the distance between A and B. By looking at this diagram, we'll find that it's simply the difference between the distance Bob has traveled and the distance Tom has traveled. So we can write this down as distance A to B would equal to the total distance Bob has traveled minus the total distance Tom has traveled. How much has Bob traveled? Bob total traveled 5 hours, and his speed is 96 miles per hour. And how far has Tom traveled? Tom has traveled 4 hours, and his speed is 86 miles per hour. And now at this point, I think that we can write the equation out as 5 multiply 96 minus 4 multiply 86. At this point, I think the students can carry out the math, and here is one way of solving this problem.
So this is another example. You can see that for students that are at a younger age, it's very hard to follow that whole long paragraph, okay? And also converting all the words into mathematical relationships. That's not something really easy, like our brain's just born to do that. So some kind of training in this form is really going to help them in the future, how to think about a problem, approach, and solve it. So even it's just for fun for you guys to participate in MO, right? Not for the competition. I think I seriously believe I put my daughter in this program, she would benefit for the classroom at least. And so this is more on the basic training material side. And we have not started building up the instructional videos. We do need volunteers. One, we need good problems. We need problems that are basic, We need problems on medium level. We need problems that are difficult and very challenging. Okay, because we are facing a group of students that's even 3rd grade till 5th grade, and some of the 5th grade are really, really advanced. And we have signing up sheet here. Hopefully, you guys, some of you will sign. I'm sorry. Okay, so Yue Qing has been the coach last year, and she will continue to be our chair. But she will continue to be our chair this year. And my name is Jay. Not sure I'm the main coach, but I'm a co-chair on the program. And Li Ping and Vaishali has been our advisors, and Li Ping has really done a lot of work to get the curriculum together. We have roughly about 20 topics, 20 weeks of materials to cover, and after that we're going to have mock tests and review sessions. So that would fill up from October all the way to April. Okay, we got a full year, and we have already planned it out. And if you want to participate, I have a full page of volunteer list. To be successful together, what we need are coaches, and we also need curriculum builders. And some of the parents who have been participating in MO knows a lot more about the program, right? What kind of problems. If you do have problems, just send an email to us. You don't have to solve it. Just say, hey, I came across this set of problems. I think those are nice, and you guys should think about these problems. Send it to us, and we will look at them. Hopefully it doesn't require too much of your time, but finding the right problems are challenging. Since right now it's just the 3 or 4 of us. And we also want to have assessment test teams. We want to provide assessment tests right after registration or before registration. So we need assessment tests before, right after registration. Okay. So we need assessment. I think that test has been made up. And the bi-monthly assessment test, we need people to put together for the students to take, to evaluate. And we also want graders. Graders, we can provide answers, and hopefully some of the parents will help us grade. We also need online instructors, just like what I did, right? You look at a problem, you read it, and you basically provide a solution, a way of thinking about the problem to the students. If you have a good voice, you are well qualified to do that. We need photographers. We just need people just standing by using a cell phone to take a video. That's all it takes. We're not competing professional photography. We also want assessment night coordinators, the bi-monthly tests. We do need the classroom to be set up for that. Parents can sign up. We also need competition day coordinators, helpers. I think that's pretty much all I have. So New Year is about to start. Hopefully coaches, parents, students, and us, we all work together and have a successful year. That's about what I want to say. Any questions?
I do have one question. So when you said that the grading is from 5th to 8th for the MO, 6th to 8th, the test level. I mean, is it for 3rd graders they're taking different tests, 4th graders taking different tests? Is it?
So that's mathematical level,
yeah.
5th to 8th. Some of the 3rd graders, they do 5th grade math too. So that's how they enter the competition. You do not have to be a 5th grader to take a 5th grade.
No, what I meant was that the test, are there going to be 3 different levels of the test itself, or just one level for the...
One level.
One level.
The assessment test is going to cover a wide range of curriculum levels.
I see. But you will be
you will be able to differentiate.
Got it.
Yes.
So this is also for math, but do you have plans for the math 6 or the other competition?
Oh, yeah. So that's in my backup slides. So we have a slide like this. Decided not to show it, but if people ask questions, we can show this. There are different kinds of tests out there. This year, part of the competition. So for this year, Li has done a lot of work by reading all the real tests for the other competitions. So we're going to have some of the new material coming from those sides into our program, so that students don't have to be limited to take this one MO test. So that's part of the new thing too. I don't want to mention that because different tests, people can get confused. So we want to focus on MO today. But you are not limited to this one test.
But for the registration to the competition, which was the same last class.
That I'll leave it to the chair.
Registration, I should talk about with our Mr. Rogers to register for some for students. But there didn't started.
So we don't know.
Yes, we don't know for sure. Yeah, because last year is high school students, they registered them.
Okay.
Yeah. If you know something like a deadline that's coming up, you should definitely contact us, then we figure out how to register, and for other parents too, if you want. But we have been talking about this, the students do not have to be limited to take one type of tests.
Yeah, and also per all the past test papers I look at during the summer, I found that if you lay a solid foundation for preparing the MO, you will get a much better result in math school as well. Though the two different competition, the types of the questions might be different, but there are some common problem solving skills. And for math school, it depends. It tests the student, but especially the calculation speed. So I would also encourage the parents here, if your kids have not practiced some calculation problems such as multiply, division, or even the maybe the complex calculation problems, please contact us. Please keep practicing maybe from today. Yeah. That would be a key success for the math school, because you have to finish the 30 problems maybe within 45 minutes, something like that.
So I will take. Okay.
Yeah, so the earlier class you mentioned there's a bi-monthly assessment test on Fridays. Can you talk a little bit more about what how kind of the pace of those tests will be?
Yeah. So like I said, we have kind of a general curriculum set up, right? We have 20 topics, roughly 20 topics to cover. So maybe every week we have a certain kind of topic, and every 2 months we're going to accumulate to a certain point that we can evaluate. Sometimes that is one big subject, we divide them into different weeks, and in 2 months we will kind of evaluate what we have. So that's the general time frame in this program. But the coaches don't have to be limited to that. But we want the coaches to be able to catch up to our bi-monthly kind of progress. Does that make sense?
Okay. So if we were to participate in this program, then would the kids have to do all the assessments, or is that after hours?
The bi-monthly, we encourage students. There is no restriction, like you have to come. If you don't come, there's a punishment.
Okay.
There's none of that. But since you put in the time, you want to see how good you're working at it. Whether the coach or parents have to take a different way of coaching so that students can learn more efficiently, or they are doing really good so that you can advance them a little bit even more, right? So it's a circular thing. Hopefully it's going to be helpful on both sides.
Yeah, I wanted to know when does the first assessment start? Like to check the level of your kid?
I think our coaching session starts October 6th. The assessment is going to be before that.
Okay. Is there a date for that?
We haven't decided a date yet.
Because we need to know how many students will take this assessment.
Okay.
And
So-
the final location.
Okay, for the coaches, like we are new to the school, if the child is taking the assessment test, and I don't know you will be providing the coaches and the team, etc., can be helped around with?
Coaches are all parent volunteers. A lot of the parents here have been coaches. And
So you'll help forming the teams, like the child is new, so you'll help with the assessment, will help them in getting with the light level kids, and then the coach will be assigned?
it's not coach be assigned. Usually what happens in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, if you have a team of 4, one of the parents in the 4 kids will volunteer to be the team coach. It doesn't have to be that way. We do have volunteers, like coach volunteers here, that they can coach a team if the parents cannot do it. Yes.
Should I ask another
Oh, the same question, okay.
A follow-up question on the Friday night sessions. Do I understand those will be practice tests only? They'll be very different than last year where those sessions involved coaching or teaching.
Yeah, so this year we're moving more toward online coaching and at-home coaching instead of on-site coaching. So mostly the bi-monthly assessment test is going to be held here. But the coaching session, as you can imagine, like 4 or 5 teams in one classroom is really not the ideal environment for kids to learn. And there are multiple coaches talking at the same time, so it's challenging.
So what's the coach's responsibility? Just play the videos and follow, give them the difficulty level questions and increase the thing? Or last year it was more like at the speed that we were doing? But
Yeah.
we have to follow this curriculum, which seems to be, is it part of the responsibility?
It's part of the coach's responsibility. Okay, we have last year's material too. If the coaches seems like, oh, I can interlace these different topics, go ahead and do it. And then different teams are different. Some teams struggle at one topic, but not the other. You can pace yourself out. You can go more advanced on one topic and getting,
But the assessment test will be based on like number sense in the first 2 weeks,
yeah, that's what we
geometry
do.
in the next, and
Yeah.
so it will go, so that means
Yes.
we have to catch up to the exact same
Yes,
speed.
yes, you can do more. Feel free, go knock yourself out, right? But we want to be able to achieve the whole curriculum at the end of March or February, so that we can be getting ready to review.
Okay, and one last question on this coach topic. Because most of the materials you are providing, including the videos and other stuff, can the 4 parents just rotate amongst themselves to make it easier for one person? Like, would that be in the mechanism?
It's up to the team, I think.
Last time it was very heavy for one coach
Yeah.
to kind of take a lot of load.
Yeah. So this year, we hope that by providing materials in such kind of way, the coach will be easier, the parents will be easier, right? Parents can watch the video too, and they can understand what's the thinking skills, and they can coach their students, yeah.
So when the kids had been in this program last year, so I worried if we come back again, will they feel bored, or what's the comments there?
Yeah, so like I said, problems are really the foundation of this program. We want the basic problems, more difficult until very challenging problems. I think students in this program, hopefully they don't run out of challenging problems for them.
So the test will be the same?
The test will be having a wide range of difficulty levels, like I said. Because all students are going to take the same assessment test, and some of the problems are really basic and easy, some of the problems are more and more challenging. So you will be able to differentiate.
I'm talking about in the end we have a competition, right? For the 5th grade competition, if he already take the 5th grade last year, he take it this year
Take it again.
Yeah. Does he feel a challenge or does he feel the repetition?
If you already have a good performance in 5th grade, you can apply it for 6th grade.
Sixth grade.
Yeah, we can register for you.
I don't know how good it is because it's team performance, right? I don't know how individual it is.
But there will be the assessment test, right?
Okay,
after
that's great.
registration. So it's a way to find out if
Yeah.
you want to.
Okay.
Yes.
So all the teams who register are going for the final test, or
So the question is, if all teams register, will all of them go to the competition? So say we have 100 teams registered.
Yeah, no
All-
limit for the.
and they compete other students from other schools, teams from other schools.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think for Math Olympiad, there's no number limit, right? But
Yeah.
for the Math
But
Olympiad, we do have.
others, such as Math Group, it's only 8 teams per grade.
And there should be a team of 4 students only, or
Yeah,
it could be less?
4,
4
all in 4.
maximum.
Most of this says on the
And what does a team mean there when you're giving the exam and all the 4 kids are sitting together and trying to solve half and half kind of, I mean, how does it work?
It's a team performance. If you have a really strong team member, the whole team performance is going to be good.
So they solve.
I think the question is, there is a group, they have to do, and some there are individual, they have
Oh,
to
yeah.
try.
I see.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I think she put it over there, like individual,
Yeah.
multiple session.
Yeah. But for MO, it's a team performance.
For MO, basically everybody is getting the same set questions at the same time for 4 kids and they talk to each
So
other.
you can decide a strategy. Like, let's say you have a
I-
team that has one member that's strong in geometry and another that's strong in another aspect of the problem. You
So
can,
you're submitting one answer sheet at the end.
Right. yeah.
So is the slide shared that in January 2019 we are going to have a professional come for the long problems? Is that going to be in the classroom or will there be videos of professionals?
That'll probably be on site. Yeah, that'll probably be on site, open to everybody.
Okay. And second question is that bi-weekly assessment. In case you're not able to attend, will you guys be emailing those tests for later?
Bi-monthly tests?
The bi-weekly assessment.
Bi-monthly.
Practice. It's bi-monthly. So bi-monthly assessment, is that going to be emailed in case you can't attend it? Can you email that? Will you be emailing that?
I will have an online.
In case you don't
register.
attend it.
Yeah.
Online register, so.
You mean that you might not be able to attend the assessment on site, right? And
Yeah,
you will-
yeah.
I think that after the assessment, definitely
Yes,
we can
after-
email all
after.
those questions. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I think I missed something. So when you make the team, you suggest that based on the pre-assessment. So it's not just individual looking for team, just based on their level.
If you choose to do it that way. Like, my daughter already has a team. The 3 kids are her classmates, and that's one way to do it. And some people say it's hard for them to form a team, and they want to have like-level students to be in their team. So the assessment test is basically designed for that, if you choose. 2 questions.
First, are the practice questions this year the same as last year?
No. We have a lot more new materials coming in. There will be some overlap for sure. Yes.
And the second question is the online video given by bi-weekly level along with the practice questions?
We haven't, so it depends on how things go. We plan on 1 or 2 weeks of releasing some of the materials, PPTs and videos and practice problems.
And those are the guides of the practice questions that come along for the other weeks.
Yeah, they'll be released about the same time, I think.
Yeah, I think this program is really good. My kids, I want to share it. My kids was so math-wise in 4th grade. After this, he getting all A's, like always top class. So I have a question. Why you guys choose the Math Olympiad? I think it's a good program compared to others because the material is really, the teaching, the coaching is really helpful. It's a very good material. So between all those, you choose Math Olympiad. Do you have any comparison or why you decided to focus on this one?
It's a historical.
This is the traditional.
Okay.
That is traditional.
Okay.
We do this every year.
I know Taiyi doing the math is cool. Or the doing math school. I feel that's very competitive. But Math Olympiad have a lot of teaching and coaching, really teaching the fundamentals. I think this is better for me, personally.
For this problem, I want to share some information. I know that Medina Elementary has a very strong coach team. They even have the international Olympic golden medal guys to have the coaching. And I want to say their coaching team all formed by fathers. So I think I'm so glad to see so many fathers here. I think the father's level would be the key success to our program. And also today, their primary coach told me that he will spend extra 2 hours each week for all those students, and they want to teach the elementary student higher grader with LPS pre-algebra. So I want to say there are lots of things undecided yet, and fathers and mothers, especially fathers joining, would be a key success to the program. And you can decide what material you will come. And also, many people are interested in the online materials. Okay, you can see that we only have 2 videos. As for other videos, we do not know where they are at this moment, so we need all your help, especially the online coach helpers. Depend on Jie, that does not make sense, right? So we need Jie will help to organize the coach team and provide all those useful information for your kids.
I also want to share, like last year I was not involved. My wife was involved. My kids really he's really not like participate in the first 2 or 3 weeks. But after he persisted for 3 weeks, something changed. He really likes it. And I don't think he did an excellent job. Sometimes he didn't finish the practice. He just go into training session every Friday. But even that helps a lot. So it's just persistence also a big factor.
Very much, very much. And it's great to see a student to progress, to success. It's a very fulfilling thing for everybody.
So why, why is PTSA doing this and not, and the reason is in the math school, last year I think our team went there. And we saw some of these schools, their teachers came to the student and they took all the prizes. If you're, I think you were there at the math school. So every time, all the same school, like everyone was the same, the teachers came along, not just the parents. And they had a good program. So how come our school is not, teachers also not
My daughter came along in some elementary school. The teacher there is also volunteer. It's basically volunteer. She only attended since last year. So before that, all of them were parents. The reason that math teacher come involved is because we have so many parents involved in math school, and we have so many students interested in math, so that teacher feel this wow to come to join the program as well.
There were a lot of
prizes, or sometimes they have a sitting in mind, but a lot of students attending, teacher will have a sitting.
Actually, in other schools, they also volunteer, parents volunteer to do that.
That's volunteer is more important.
Just the
Which school you're talking about?
Smith.
This is Smith.
Smith, yeah. Smith has a famous teacher. She really loves math, and I heard that he even found his maybe his son from the UW math class. They were his son will also help with those classes.
But I can see at the very beginning when we started this one, the teacher got involved.
All the top prizes they
coming together.
Sammamish High School?
No, elementary.
Sammamish Elementary.
Smith Elementary. They work with
we need more volunteers, especially from that.
Well, I think if we approach some teachers, maybe we volunteer.
Right. And if there is any funds or something to get.
And even if you can math teacher involved, they need a lot of parents involved as well. The class they have, there's probably 4 or 5 parents currently.
I think the material is simple enough. Everybody can teach it. Especially with the video help and with if you know the answer, you can teach it.
It's a motivation too, right?
Yeah.
The kids over there, when you saw, like everyone was jumping, like the whole school over there, you could see wearing the same blue t-shirt or something.
Yeah.
Everywhere you could easily spot them, the whole group, including the teacher. Everyone was taking a prize, high-fiving the teacher or their coach. So there was like very active participation from this.
Maybe we should all have the t-shirt. Last time we feel not very good. We have very little people bought the t-shirt, so it doesn't look like one team, right? So for people who bought a t-shirt,
Yeah, you have a chance this year to do it.
yeah, let's go and go buy it.
Any more questions? Question about the t-shirt. I think last year the t-shirt is all the same for everybody. It's not like different school has different t-shirts.
No,
Different school they can choose different teachers. If we buy a teacher from the division, each school has their own teacher.
So I guess we have an option option to design our shirt this year. So we can have a design competition.
Suppose some parents want to coach and volunteer, but their ward is out, their kids are not in the fourth or fifth grade. Can they coach?
Their kids is,
Suppose there are some parents who want to volunteer as a coach, but their kids are not in the fourth or fifth grade.
it's totally fine. Yeah. Yes.
They can teach, they can coach, volunteer.
Yes.
Other kids they can coach.
Yeah.
So the volunteers for this program, do they also have to pass the Bellevue School District background check?
Is there any critical here?
I think it is because this is a PTSD program, so we need a background.
Yeah, and I really want to encourage more volunteers and coaches coming. I think our chair, Yue Qing, can share her daughter's great experiences. She volunteered last year, and her daughter find how capable she really is. And her daughter now is a math fan, right? Yeah, this is a really great year for Yue Qing's daughter. She can also share some experiences.
Yeah, my daughter in third grade, she first joined this program. When she saw the materials first, she said, "No, it's too hard. I don't want to do it." But I let her do step by step. I mean, first I let her do a little, then I don't add more. Along with the class, they find math is really fun. And fourth grade, she attended Math Olympiad and math school. On Math Olympiad, she got extra ribbon and a medal. On math school, she passed the math school masters and got the with his three teams got the #1 in the competition. So now she's fifth grade. She writes her sheet. Said to her teacher she liked math and science. She really liked that. My experience.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. So you mentioned about professional coach. So I just want to understand that does that come from teacher, school teacher, or
outside teacher?
Outside teacher.
Yeah.
So they will come on site to provide training to the all students and improving our parents' coaching. The professional coach. Then we talk about professional professional coach.
Professional coach will coach students only. If you coach one to there, it will be fine.
So, any more questions? Oh, okay.
Because this thing is new to me, I just want to clarify. So there's only one level of test, but the test covers the material topic from 5th grade, 8th grade?
Yes.
Okay.
No, only 5th grade.
Only 5th grade?
Yes.
Oh, this, if,
But the training material only cover 5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
competition, so like, what kind of a difficulty?
Oh, some that only select the 5th grade.
Okay, there are multiple levels of competition.
Yeah, and some maybe want to attend the 6th grade.
We have past papers. If you want to join the 6th grade test, you can find the online past papers as well. Yeah.
So I want to, before I think people start leaving, so I don't want to lose our volunteers. So please look at this volunteering sheet hard, very, very hard, and pick one and sign up here. We really need you, especially for coaches, for curriculum builders and the assessment testing, we really need your help. And it probably, hopefully we can divide and conquer different topics. We have different volunteers who volunteer, so it wouldn't take too much of your time. But once you get more involved, you can monitor your own child better, right? It's a win-win situation. So please take a look at this, and here is the sign-up sheet. Here. And we can continue asking questions. Is it the fifth grader on the left?
I just came to figure out.